Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys I'm going to be doing a deck profile and a deck update of my Madolche deck, which is by far one of my most favorite decks I actually play. And it's been a while since I've done a deck profile of this deck, and there's a reason for that. There's multiple reasons. Either new support was always coming out over the last couple years, or things were always getting hit on the ban list that really were useful in this deck. You know, things like Instant Fusion being hit, or Brilliant Fusion being hit in this deck, which really hurt it for a time being. So new support, always having to retest stuff, rebuild it because the ban list would always hit something, always made me have a hard time doing a deck profile of this deck. Now, saying all that, I'm so excited to profile it for you today. And you know, people always wonder, you know, by looking at this deck, you have very high rarity Madolche stuff. You know, Queen Tiramisu Ultimate Rare First Ed, Madolche Magdalene's First Ed. Why do you have this deck so high rarity? Well, back when I was getting into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, guys, this was one of those competitive decks I was playing. I played 6 Samurais, Gravekeepers when I got back in, you know, after taking a little hiatus for a couple years in the 5Ds era, and then I came back in, played those other decks, and then some of the next decks I played competitively were Water, Fire Fist, and Madolche. And how did I get into playing Madolche, you may ask? Well, I actually pulled Madolche Magdalene out of one of my packs at Sneak Peek, and as soon as I saw this card, I said, I'm building this deck, because this is the reason why. I've loved this card, I love the artwork, it's one of my favorite decks. I've had multiple people try to buy this off of me throughout the years before the reprint happened, but I love my super rares because I've been playing this at regionals, events over the years, had people borrow them because they loved them. So yeah, it's one of my Bay cards. I love her Hexachrono Eyes as well, but she's one of my favorite waifu cards, I guess you could say. But sometimes, you know, you gotta be careful after you play this deck, guys. You have to brush your teeth, otherwise you'll get cavities. Not a good thing. But Messenger Gelato, sorry for touching my cards so much. This is your Stratos for this deck. It's going to help search out pretty much anything you really need. Your Angelis, your Hoot Cakes, your Princesses, you know, everything pretty much. It's really a good card in that respect because it's a Stratos. It's going to search out anything. And by the way, I love the artwork. It's one of my favorite cards and definitely my favorite card in the deck. 3 Madolche Angeli. Not one of my favorite cards for a different reason. Back when this card initially came out, fun story, I was at the YCS Philadelphia with a guy talked with this deck, and I was trying to pick up my 3rd copy. Let's say I had to buy 2 of them for not $70, which they were at for a point, but I had to still buy it, and I brought it for $50. So it took me a little bit of time to get it, but I eventually got these cards all together. But one of the most powerful cards in the deck. It is pretty much lone fire for the deck and can help tutor anything out from your main deck, which is really awesome. Next, we run 3 Hoot Cake in the deck, which is really good. Hoot Cake is another way of tutoring things out from your deck and recycling things to some degree. We used to use its effect and bring things back with Leveneer, the Sea Dragon, if you remember those days. There were days when we used to run double summon as well. I do not want to remember those days, but there were days, because this deck is very heavily reliant upon the normal summon, and especially having an additional normal summon. Salon takes care of that. But 3 Hoot Cake is really good. Very cute card as well. 3 Madolche Princess. Madolche I can never pronounce this card properly. I always just call it Madolche Princess's younger self because I cannot pronounce the card properly. This card is really awesome and was great legacy support for this deck. Its effect to special summon out is very easy to get onto the field to make it kind of into a Cyber Dragon-esque card. And its other effect is really awesome as well and very easy to get it off after you do the special summon, which is its requirement. Really good card, really awesome because it helps build XYZs on the board, which is nice. Another thing this deck suffered from before this card came out was links. Master Rule 4 really hurt this deck. Even with the link card, really didn't help. But now that we're in Master Rule 5, this card can be used for other things besides helping go for link fodder. So it's really nice to have still. 2 Messenger Gelato. This card's going to help search out a majority of your Madolche spells and traps, mainly Salon, Madolche Chateau, and Ticket. Those are going to be your main things you'll be searching out. I always talk with my buddies of mine about who play Madolches, and we always discuss this because you can always tell somebody who's just getting into Madolches because they usually run 3 Mess and Gelato, compared to somebody that's played this deck for a long time because they usually run 2 Mess and Gelato. Because 3, it bricks. It bricks like garnet. Like, literally, a garnet. Yeah, I had the garnet right there for this. But yeah, Mess and Gelato legitly bricks as a 3 of. And I really like it as a 2 of instead for this reason. Now, back when we ran MX Saber Invoker, back when that was legal, you maybe could get away with 3 of. But nowadays, you don't need it. You can easily recycle it. I feel that 3 is unnecessary completely, and it bricks as a 3 of. So that's why I don't run it as that ratio anymore. But thank you, Konami, for making this a super rare. I was super excited when I heard about this coming out in Astro Pack. Not Astro Pack, Tournament Pack 14, whatever it's called now. 1 Mawmu, or Mewfloy, the little pink cat. We always call it Mawmu if you're a Madolche player. But this card is not as essential as it used to be. It's pretty much Marauding Captain for the deck. And we used to run it as 2 ofs and 3 ofs. Nowadays, it's not as essential anymore because of new support and things of that nature. However, I do find in a lot of situations, it's really still good. And it's really nice to have. In certain hands, it can be really awesome to play. And from playtesting, I wasn't running it initially. I didn't think I was going to need it. Went back, tested the deck. Haven't looked back since. I like it as a 1 of. It's just a nice card that helps out with certain hands and can still have some usage. I think the days of running it as a 2 and 3 of are long gone, but it's still a good card as a 1 of. Next, we run 1 Madolche Princess. Great card, 1 of. I see a lot of people run it as a 2 of in the deck because they always seem to draw it. I feel that's not necessary. I like it as a 1 of. It's good as a 1 of. It's nice, but I would not run it as a 2 of at all. Great card. Next, we're running hand traps, so 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Springs. Now, I'm going to mention this as we get into this deck. This deck is really regional and local viable. You could maybe even take it to a YCS if you wanted to, if those were going on. But it's really a good deck that you can take out your locals and maybe even top with it, and even a regionals, possibly. And the nice thing about this deck is it's a legit going second deck. You know, one of my good friends, Alex, who topped at YCS Atlanta with Gym Knights a couple years ago, always used to say he built his decks to go second. Because he would always lose the dice roll and they would make him go second. So he built his decks that way. And this deck wants to go second because it's an OTK based deck. And you can easily side things out of this deck very easily, which we'll talk about after we get through the main deck. The things you can side in and out fairly easily in this deck. So Ash Blossom is one of those cards. It's a great going second card because you can slow your opponent down. That you're going to see a lot of cards like this in this deck. You can help easily break a board, perhaps, or negate it. And then after that, you can OTK their butt. So that's why you're going to see a lot of cards like that. I just wanted to explain that before I got into the other parts of the deck. 3 Salon. I see people run 2 of. Like I said, I remember the days of double summoning and Brilliant Fusion, and how reliant upon the extra normal summoning we were. So Salon to me as a 3 of is a no-brainer. Maybe you can get away with 2 of, but me, I like it as a 3 of, and it's been perfectly fine, and I love it as a 3 of in the deck. So 3 Madolche Salon, awesome card. Happy to have this because now it's a fully fledged archetype based deck, and we don't have to rely upon different engines like we used to. 3 double Madolche Chateau. Thank you, Konami, for making this a gold rare. However, I ask you, why did you not make Ticket a gold rare? I'm asking this question right now to my friends. Like, why? Why? Why can these both not be gold rare? Why? I want to talk to the R&D department. But nonetheless, I love the gold lettering print with this card. And Chateau is really good. It helps recycle your extra deck. I see some people run it as a 3 of. I've seen different ratios of both of these before. I've seen 3 of, 3 of, 3 2, 3 1, 1 3. I mean, I've seen it all, and I still see it all. And me personally, and I've talked with some Madolche players who have played this deck for a long time. But there's a mindset I have, and maybe it's wrong, maybe it's incorrect, but this is what's been working for me for years, is I want to open up with one of these in my opening hand, either Chateau or Ticket, one of these, right? And then what I'll do is I'll either search out the other one with Gelato. So I'll use Gelato to search it out, you know, one or the other. And that was my mentality for a long time. You know, Gelato, okay, I drew one, I drew Chateau, now I'm going to use Gelato to search out Ticket, etc. You know, get my board going. Now, you also in that vein can use it now depending upon, you can search out Salon, so there's a little bit more of a combo there, you know, for your spells, but it still, I feel, holds true. And from talking to some Madolche players who've been playing this deck longer than I have even, and playing it for just as long, 2 and 2 works best for us. But that's just me. Maybe you want to run a different ratio. And I've seen people run different ratios. Next, we run 2 Foolish Burial of Goods. Now, why do we run Foolish Burial of Goods? This is for sending your Madolche Prominence to the graveyard. Madolche Prominence is a great card in the grave. If you guys don't know its additional effect, I'll read it to you. If it's in the graveyard, its first effect is very nice as well. Target one face-up card your opponent controls and one Madolche monster you control or in your graveyard. Negate the effects of that opponent's card until the end of this turn, and if you do, return your monster to the hand. So it can help recycle things in grave, which is really nice. The other effect is you can banish this card from the graveyard, then target one XYZ Madolche you control. Attach one Madolche monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard to it as material. You can only use Prominence's effect once per turn. So why is Prominence so good? With a lot of your Madolche Exceed monsters, which pretty much we have over here, this is going to help reuse them. This is going to help get their effects off a little bit better and have better usage for them. So this is mainly here for Prominence. That's the main reason why, pretty much. So that's why we run 3 of that. Double Foolish Burial Goods, and it also helps deck thin as well. 3 Dark Ruler No More. This is a choice because this is a going second deck, like I said. You can run Evenly Matched. You can run Neberu if you want to. It's up to you what you want to run. Me personally, I find that Dark Ruler No More does the trick. So that's why I'm running 3 Dark Ruler No More. Like I said, you can side deck things in and out. You can run different ratios depending upon what you want to run. It's up to you. But Dark Ruler No More has been putting a lot of work for me, and I really like it. Next up, 1 Upstart Goblin. I don't care about giving my points life points. I want to get to my little draw pieces. 1 Mind Control and 1 Call by the Grave. I don't like getting hand trapped. And Mind Control is that 40th card. I'm going to be honest with you. It's one of those cards that you can easily side in and out. And I was debating with a buddy of mine. I said, hey, do I run Evenly Matched? Do I run this? Do I run that? Maybe an Instant Fusion? I was going back and forth. And he said, well, you're going second deck. And you can go into links. Why not use Mind Control? I said, yeah, you're right. And I found out also, too, you could easily side it in or out as well. Now, if Call the Grave goes back to multiples, maybe I take the Mind Control out. But for the time being, I'm running 1 Mind Control, and it's been working out pretty well. So these are your 1F spells. Upstart Goblin to make it a 39 card deck. Your 40th card, which works well because you're going second deck. And Call by the Grave to help protect you from hand traps. Pretty straightforward, guys. For your traps, we're running 1 Madolche Knights, which is a really good card, and 2 Madolche Prominences. We talked about its effect and everything earlier. I don't like it as a 3 of. It can get a little bit bricky, but it's really good, and I like it as a 2 of in the deck overall. In addition to that, I'm running 3 Infinite Impermanence. We are going second deck, usually, and so we can help do some more negation to my opponent, slow him down, etc. And it's just a good card to have to give you a little bit more control elements in this deck. And it can easily be sided out depending upon if you're going first or second. So that's for that. Now, as I was talking about in this video, we were talking about how you can easily side things in and out, and I'm going to talk about this briefly before I get into the extra deck. But I want you to look here about the cards that I feel like you can easily side out, and it's not going to affect your deck and how it functions. So if I take all these cards out, guys, look how much I'm taking out that I can easily take out technically to side deck. Now, Call by the Grave is optional. Like, some people feel this is a staple, some people like siding it out depending upon the matchup, etc. But really, if you look at this here, guys, let's count these extra deck cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cards you can side out, technically, that are not going to affect how your deck functions. You can easily side out into other side deck cards. That's why I love this deck and always have, because it's an easy deck to side in and out, because you have your main engine, which is over here, and then you have everything else. So I don't have an extra deck for this deck, but as you can see, all these are not essential, and you can easily side them out for more hand traps depending upon the matchups. Other cards, whatever you want to. That's the beauty of Madolche's. Oops, sorry about that. My cards fell out of my hand. But let's get into the extra deck now, guys. So we have All Hail the Queen, 3 Tiramisu. We always used to say, long live the Queen. Long live the Queen, Tiramisu. But yes, long live the Queen, Tiramisu, the card that was ahead of its time and is still amazing in this deck to this day. 3 Queen. We also run 3 Madolche Glace Souffle. This card we run as a 3 of because you're going to go through Glace Souffle like that. Tiramisu is an optional 2 to 3 of. I like 3 of, but it's up to you. Glace Souffle is a staple 3 of nowadays. You're going to tear through this card. 3 Princess. Staple 3 of in the deck. Staple 3 of. We also run 1 Divine Arsenal AA Zeus Sky Thunder. This is something that you can run if you have it. You don't have to run it. You can run maybe something else. I like this. It comes in handy if all else fails. For links, we run 2 Madolche Stratart, or 1 Madolche Stratart. You recycle it, so I don't feel like I need more than 1 of. So that's why it's a 1 of. Some people like 2 of it. That's up to you, but 1 just tart. And then for your links, we run Nightmare Cerberus, Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Unicorn, and Access Code Talker, because this is a going second deck and maybe you need to crack a board. So that's why Access Code Talker is in here. But like I said, you can play around with some of these extra deck cards like Tart, Tiramisu, things of this nature. But I hope you guys all enjoyed this deck. Like I said, it's a fun deck. It's gotten a little bit more expensive over the years, but it's still a fun deck to play, and it's a good deck to play. And I really, really thoroughly enjoy playing it. It's one of my favorite decks of all time, for sure. So, hope you like this deck. Remember to brush your teeth. Go Tiramisu. Go Madolche Magdalene. And until next time, guys, take care. Have fun dueling. Good luck dueling. And remember, if you give your opponent a sweet tooth and they get a cavity and a toothache, you may just win that match. Take care, everybody.